The most dangerous person in any conflict isn't the loudest in the room. It's not the strongest either. It's the calmest. Miyamoto Musashi knew this truth, not just as a warrior, but as a strategist, a philosopher, a master of the human spirit. He didn't win 60 duels to the death through brute force alone. He won by mastering what his opponents never understood: emotional stillness. His method wasn't just about technique, it was about state of mind. A four-part system to remain unmoved while others unraveled. And it starts with a concept that most people never even consider: emotional distance. In confrontation, most people collapse inward. Someone yells, someone threatens. Your body panics. Adrenaline floods your veins, your heart races, your muscles tense, your thoughts narrow. You lose the ability to choose your response. That's the trap. But Musashi saw it differently. He realized that victory doesn't belong to the one who reacts fastest, but to the one who remains unaffected. Because when you're calm, you're in control. And when you're in control, you see what others miss. The true fight is never with your opponent, it's with yourself. And Musashi mastered that battlefield first. Musashi's true mastery began not with aggression, but with detachment. He stepped outside the emotional storm while others were swallowed by it. In his writings, he described facing confrontation like watching from above, observing clouds pass without becoming the storm. Think about the last time someone made you angry. In that moment, you weren't just feeling anger, you became it. Your words, your actions, your thoughts, they all served the emotion, not your clarity, not your purpose. This is what destroyed Musashi's opponents. They didn't lose to his sword, they lost to their own minds. They became their anger, their fear, their pride. Emotional distance is the practice of stepping back, creating space between the moment and your response. So when someone insults you, you don't lash out. You observe the emotion rise. You think, I notice I'm feeling anger, instead of, I am angry. That shift, that tiny piece of awareness, it's everything. Musashi trained this skill relentlessly. He placed himself in ever more dangerous situations, not to prove dominance, but to strengthen his detachment. In his most legendary duel against Sasaki Kojiro, his opponent arrived furious, impatient, and tense. Musashi arrived deliberately late, deepening Kojiro's rage. And while Kojiro drowned in his emotions, Musashi stood untouched, watching with perfect clarity. To build this muscle, begin small. The next time you feel a wave of emotion, pause. Say to yourself, I notice I'm feeling. This is how you create a wedge between stimulus and reaction. And with practice, that space expands. Modern neuroscience now confirms what Musashi knew centuries ago. Studies show that labeling emotions activates the prefrontal cortex, the rational part of the brain. And in doing so, it calms the emotional centers. This is why therapists teach patients to name what they feel, because what you name, you can contain. But Musashi didn't stop there. Emotional distance was just the beginning. Once calm was established, the next move was clear: anticipatory awareness. He called it forenotice, the ability to sense what's coming before it arrives. In the Book of Five Rings, he spoke of reading his opponent's intention before they moved. The warrior who sees the future wins before the fight begins. This isn't about mind reading. It's about pattern recognition. Musashi didn't claim to read minds. He didn't need to. He understood something far more powerful. Humans follow patterns. When people are angry, they become predictable. When they feel threatened, their options shrink. Reactions narrow into a handful of familiar behaviors. Musashi mastered this. He studied those patterns obsessively, like a strategist mapping terrain before a battle. Think of a master chess player. They don't guess 5 moves ahead. They recognize, they see habits, they anticipate. And that anticipation gives them control. Musashi applied the same principle to human conflict. He didn't just react, he read the room before stepping into it. Our bodies respond differently to expected stress than to surprise. If a confrontation catches you off guard, your system floods with stress hormones. Your mind races, your vision narrows, you freeze or explode. But if you see the storm coming, your brain prepares. It releases smaller doses of stress chemicals, enough to sharpen your focus, not hijack it. That's how Musashi moved, with precision, not panic. In his most dangerous duels, he never stepped in blind. He'd study his opponent beforehand, their favorite strikes, their emotional tendencies, how they handled pressure. Before his legendary duel with Sasaki Kojiro, Musashi crafted a wooden sword during his boat ride. He made it slightly longer than Kojiro's famed blade, just enough to shift the odds. A subtle adjustment, a strategic edge. This awareness isn't reserved for warriors. You can develop it with a simple habit. Before entering any potentially tense situation, pause for 30 seconds and ask, what emotional state is this person likely in? What do they really want from this exchange? What are the 3 most likely ways they could respond? Do this, and your brain starts forming patterns. A boss who criticizes everything will likely criticize again. A friend who avoids conflict will dodge the hard topics. A manipulator will shift blame before they admit truth. When you anticipate, you eliminate surprise. And when there's no surprise, there's no emotional hijack. This is how elite professionals stay calm under fire. FBI hostage negotiators do this instinctively. Before a high-stakes negotiation, they spend hours profiling, analyzing behavior, tone, triggers. Why? Because forenotice wins where force fails. And the one who sees clearly can speak wisely when others would lose control. Emotional distance clears the mind. Anticipatory awareness sharpens perception. But Musashi knew there was a third key to staying unshakable under pressure. Control the breath, and you control the moment. Throughout his writings, Musashi returned to one vital truth. Clarity begins with breath. He observed something others overlooked. When a swordsman grew afraid or enraged, their breath changed first. It became shallow, rapid, uneven, and once their breathing broke, so did their focus. Musashi taught that breath was more than just survival. It was a weapon, a tool for mastering the mind. In his own training, he didn't separate sword technique from breath work. Every movement, every strike, every step, anchored in controlled breathing. Why? Because your breath is directly tied to your nervous system. When you're calm, your breath slows and deepens. When you're triggered, it shortens and quickens. But here's the deeper insight. The connection runs both ways. Change your breathing, and you change your emotional state. Fast, shallow breaths activate the sympathetic nervous system, your fight or flight response. This creates tension, panic, tunnel vision. But slow, deep breaths engage the parasympathetic nervous system, your calm state. This creates clarity, control, precision. Musashi developed a simple, powerful technique to anchor himself in duels. Before key moments, he would take a single, conscious breath. Inhale through the nose for 4 seconds. Hold briefly. Exhale through the mouth for 6 seconds. This wasn't mystical, it was tactical. And it still works today. Whether you're walking into a tense meeting, facing conflict, or preparing for a high-pressure conversation, use this breath. 4 seconds in, 6 seconds out. You'll feel the shift immediately, because when your breath is steady, your mind follows. And a steady mind is an unstoppable force. One breath can shift your entire state. Emotional distance gives you space. Anticipatory awareness lets you see what's coming. Strategic breathing anchors your physiology. But Musashi knew all of that meant nothing without direction. The fourth principle is what binds it all together: purposeful action. In his writings, Musashi was clear. Clarity of purpose outpowers intensity of emotion. While his opponents fought from anger, fear, or pride, he fought with one thing: intention. Every step, every strike, every pause, deliberate, not just to win a moment, but to fulfill a larger objective. In the Book of Five Rings, he repeats this idea. A warrior should not aim to strike first, but to remain centered on his goal. Musashi didn't react. He responded, with purpose guiding his hand. And this is the final key. When you're challenged, insulted, or drawn into conflict, it's easy to lose yourself. Emotions surge. The goal becomes defending your pride, proving a point, or hurting back. That's how most arguments spiral into chaos. They begin with a clear issue, but quickly dissolve into personal attacks, old wounds, and misdirected pain. Why? Because both people forget the purpose. They start reacting, not choosing. Musashi avoided this trap by staying rooted in one clear intention, and you can do the same. Here's the practice. Before entering any confrontation, big or small, ask yourself, what outcome truly serves my long-term goals? Define your purpose in one sentence. Hold it in your mind, and when the emotions start to rise, repeat it to yourself silently. This becomes your anchor. It keeps your attention fixed, your responses measured. It ensures your actions serve something greater than the moment. Because when your emotions serve your purpose, you become unstoppable. But when your emotions become the purpose, you lose the battle before it begins. This is how Musashi won. Not just with skill, not just with calm, but with clarity. The unshakable focus of a mind that knows exactly what it's there to do. Purposeful action doesn't mean you ignore your emotions. It means your emotions become tools, not tyrants. They serve your mission instead of hijacking it. This is the culmination of Musashi's system. Emotional distance gives you space. Anticipatory awareness gives you foresight. Strategic breathing gives you control. Purposeful action gives you direction. Together, they form more than just a method for winning conflict. They reveal something deeper, something timeless about human nature. These four principles aren't just techniques. They are reflections of ancient wisdom. Emotional distance mirrors the Buddhist practice of non-attachment, freedom from your reactive thoughts. Anticipatory awareness lifts you above the moment, expanding your view beyond the immediate, a higher state of perception. Strategic breathing grounds you in the present, teaching you that no feeling is final, the impermanence of emotion. Purposeful action aligns with Taoist Wu Wei, effortless movement in harmony with the natural flow. And all of this is more relevant now than ever. We live in a world that thrives on conflict. Social media rewards outrage, politics feeds on division. Even our closest relationships suffer under stress, speed, and disconnection. Modern life confronts us more in a single day than Musashi may have faced in a month. The great irony? We need emotional mastery more than ever, yet we practice it less than ever. People react instantly to provocation, firing off texts in anger, posting from pain, escalating minor issues into broken relationships. But the person who can remain calm in this chaos, that person doesn't just win arguments. They tap into a clarity that others don't even know exists. You see it when someone truly skilled in emotional control handles conflict. They move differently. They speak with precision. They seem to see things in slow motion because they're no longer inside the storm. And there's one final truth few ever realize. Emotional mastery reveals how many battles aren't even worth fighting. When you stop reacting out of habit, you discover something profound. Most confrontations dissolve without your participation. The truly powerful person isn't the one who wins every fight. It's the one who knows which fights actually matter.